Let me call upon our first panel on the stage. The topic is AI in banking, automation, and transforming the future of financial services. Joining me on the first panel, and the first panelist, Mr. Rajesh Narayanan, National Receivable Head, AHF, Equitas Small Finance Bank. And can we have a huge round of applause and welcome him on stage, please? Next joining us is Mr. Deepak, Bhatia, CTO, Exim Bank. Can we have a huge round of applause and welcome? And also request everyone to sit according to the screens so that everyone here can relate. I may now call upon Mr. Mohit Kodnani, General Manager, IT CTO, Central Bank of India. Can we have a huge round of applause and welcome him, please? Joining us is Mr. Navratan Vora, Head Corporate Banking, United Overseas Bank. Can we have a huge round of applause and welcome Mr. Vora on stage? One of the panelists will be joining us soon, Mr. Sachin Singh, Vice President Data Science and AI Practices, RBL Bank. He shall be joining us shortly. In the meanwhile, I'll also request the moderator who shall be navigating this powerful conversation, Guru Prasad PM, Head Data Privacy and Data Governance Digital Banking, HDFC Bank, to kindly join us on stage. Can we have a huge round of applause and welcome Guru Prasad PM? Thank you, leaders, for joining us. Over to you. And I think, the enthusiasm in this room seems to be a little less. Come on, we are morning Mumbai Heights. Can we have a huge round of applause and welcome the industry leaders out here? Thank you, all of you, for joining in. Let's look forward for an absolutely insightful session. Thank you.
Thank you, Shweta, and thanks for the wonderful introduction. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all comfortable. And actually speaking, you have two CTOs sitting right in front of you. One CTO is from the oldest bank of India, which is Central Bank of India. They have gone through pre-independence, independence, post-independence. They have seen Lehman Brothers, they have seen COVID, they have seen everything. On the other side, the CTO I have is Mr. Deepak ji. He heads Exim Bank, the technology side, the CTO side of Exim Bank. Now, Exim Bank caters to the import-export customers, business customers, a very unique business proposition that they have. We are also added by two business heads. One is, as we say, Mr. Rajesh. He heads the collections. And we, on the extreme end, we also have corporate banking, wholesale banking with us. So this is the panel. Sachin is on his way. Now with this, I will kickstart to maybe Deepak ji. With RBI last year, they released the framework for radical and ethical AI, and that's called free AI, wherein they spoke to close to about 700 different NBFCs, 700 different banks. And one interesting point came out is only about 23% of those banks said that they are working on AI, right? Now, whether the data was true, not true, we don't know, but that is what RBI is saying, and I trust RBI in what they are saying. Now, going back to Deepak ji. Now, Deepak ji heads, he's the CTO for Exim Bank, and in your case, when we look at this, so I'm sure a lot of partners, a lot of vendors, they would be coming and telling you a lot of products are there. What is your view, Deepak ji, in terms of whether there are any mis-selling happening, whether AI is being sold the way it has to be sold, or whether there is too much of hype? Maybe over to you, Deepak ji. Maybe you can add your thoughts on that. And this is a very interesting fact what I would want Deepak ji to speak to.
Thank you, sir. So it's a very good, I would say, question to start the day. So when people say, भाई AC जब चल रहा है AI से, तो बैंक क्यों नहीं चलेगा? Now there, I would say the difference we need to understand. So AC has to just cool your room and adjust the temperature. So it is pretty easy. So if someone comes and tells you, yes, our AC or refrigerator or all those devices are AI enabled, yes. So whether you are in a room or apartment, so the entire, I would say, surroundings are having the similar situation. But when it comes at enterprise level, there are certain things which we need to understand before, I would say, getting aligned with the partners or selecting any solution. So the first thing is why. Why, when we say, is do I really need this AI solution, or the processes I'm having, whether there is any scope to improve the those processes using AI, or it will just a fancy word which I'll be using. Now, second thing comes now, all those AI engines. So they are basically trained on some data, some trends, some, I would say, processes which have been fed to them. Are my processes aligned with industry? Are there any deviations? It should not happen that I have deployed some tool which has been trained on some data, and my processes, my data is not syncing with the industry. So then again, it is going to give me the results which may not lead to the expectations. The third thing which we need to understand in this is that yes, now the tool has come. Do I have ability to feed the tool on a real time basis, or what guardrails I need to put? Whether the, because first time configuration vendor may come, they may do it, but then after that what? Am I okay sharing that data with those engines? Is it a small language model which is not connecting to internet? Because most of the, if you see those large language models, if you go through, nobody is giving you the confidence that yes, we will not use your data. There is a very thin line, be it your free model you are using or enterprise level model. They give you assurance, but there is I would say no guarantee that your data is not getting shared. At least if it's a large language model, at some level it has to connect to the mother model to take some inputs. So there we need to be very clear that what kind of data I'm going to share, whether it is okay, whether it is in my purview to share the data, whether the policies are allowing or not. And after that, the tool comes, whether the tool is really equipped with AI capabilities. Just writing 10 lines of Python code is not AI. So I will share one example. One of the vendor came to us. So of course, it's a big, I would say, vendor. Everyone in this room must be using their services. So they said that, sir, our AI model will come, it will read emails, and it will extract the data, it will pull. I said, it's just a Python utility. There is no AI involved in it. So there we need to understand what exactly they are doing. And the last and the most important, whether the vendor is trustworthy or not. Because most of those small, I would say, time vendors, or I would say startups, so their roadmap towards the product, and most importantly, their roadmap towards the company, unless we understand this, it would be difficult for us to continue with those models. So I think if we are able to work on these areas before getting any vendor onboarded into our system, I think we can avoid getting trapped into this mis-selling. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I think that's a very important thing that we have here is just having Python doesn't mean I am building AI solutions. So that's good thought. I think Deepak ji, thanks for that. Sorry. So now I think just shifting gears now from one CTO to another CTO. So maybe Mohit ji, can you tell us? I mean, you are leading the technology for Central Bank of India. So there, I'm sure you're using AI for a lot of loans, you are using a lot for credit underwriting and other areas. Then there are pockets of customers where you are able to reach, you are not able to reach. Some have credit history, some don't have credit history. And I'll maybe as a follow-up question, I'll come to you, Rajesh sir. But I'll first allow Mohit sir to maybe tell his experience, what Central Bank of India is doing so that you can also learn from him. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Prasad ji. And so let me tell you, when we are in this era of AI-led banking, which we are witnessing, all of us in some or other way, loan underwriting has been very conventional so far, and it remains still. I will not say that we have completely adopted AI, but yes, our conventional methods were completely depending on the static data of the customer, be it CIBIL or CIC scores, or even to that the balance sheets and the turnover and other banking data. However, there are many class of customers or unbanked population which India does have, and like we have faced that, as our bank is almost having around 66% of our branches in the semi-urban and rural areas. So catering to those customers using AI was a thought which we brought in when we started evaluating AI use cases. The first and foremost thing is, of course, how to take their banking footprints. So AI has helped us in many ways to see how their their behavioral patterns, their digital footprints, that we have been able to capture on AI model. This is what we have just started in some small 2 or 3 category of loan products, where the kind of their day-to-day transactions can be captured, their behavior. Also on the same front, when we are doing all this pattern for underwriting, we are simultaneously using the same AI models for their, I will say, the complete loan life cycle. I mean to say, when we have onboarded them, then how to monitor the loan. For that purpose also, we have started using the AI. So we have a better visibility of the dynamic risk management of the such customers who are maybe, like, we can call it gig workers, or these small businesses or rural population. Those their profiling can be better managed by AI tools, and we need not depend on the monthly statements or something like that on a static basis, which has been very rudimentary, and that we found that were the main reasons of not understanding their real issues while they are doing the business. So in a way, what I will say, we have been seeing a shift of using the AI models more in terms of onboarding without having the formal data, and also continue to maintain or monitor any kind of early warning signals. All those we have started using AI tools. In fact, to that extent, government also is asking to promote such kind of unconventional methods to promote the startups and other small businesses also. And we have been fairly watchful, but also on the same front, being a highly regulated industry, we have to be equally watchful in terms of training the models, testing the models before bringing it on to any purely AI-led loan underwriting. So we are keeping human in loop always in there. So final decision authority at that point of time, the human in loop is there.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. I think he's mentioned 3 important layers over here. First layer is, how do I use alternate data? How do I use surrogate data? Now, what I mean by alternate data, you all know, it's basically, can I look at a Bijli ka bill and say whether the customer is creditworthy or not? Whether I can look at a telephone bill and say whether the customer is creditworthy or not. Today we have the AWS of the world, Swiggy's of the world, Zomato's of the world. Can I take data if they are providing the data? Can I then identify whether a customer is creditworthy or not? So the second point that you mentioned is, it is quite interesting. It is quite interesting to see that whenever you are using that data, I mean, what is the trust factor that you can bring in? I'm sorry, I would like to just introduce Sachin, who has just joined us. I mean, he's also going to be part of the panel. Apologies for the delay on his side. So I think, slightly shifting gears, we had Central Bank of India talk about how AI is being used for customers without any credit history. Slightly shifting the gear to Rajesh ji. Now, Equitas Small Finance Bank, I think they have close to about 5 million customers who are either not reachable or who don't have any credit history. And his responsibility is, after Equitas Small Finance Bank has given them a loan, how does he collect them? And what are the AI enablement, how AI is used for collections? And very interesting point is, in Q4 2025, the GNPA of Equitas Small Finance Bank was 2.89%. In this quarter, Q4 of FY26, it was from 2.89, it got reduced to 2.49. So there is a 40 bips drop. Sir, you tell us how you are using AI to do this wonderful job.
Very good morning. In this forum, most of you are from IT background, I believe, right? IT or fintech or AI. How many of you are from collections? Any person is there from collection side? No.
So all are lenders. They don't collect.
Fine, good. Because see, what is collection basically? What is banks debt collections? Or anybody have any idea? A companies have a lot of tools for debt collections, right? A companies have a lot of tools for debt collections. Any A company's representative can address what is collection? Okay. See, collection in bank loan collection is basically two fundamentals. Two fundamentals. One is uncertainty and exception. Okay. And the second is our credit. How our credit buying. These are the two areas plays a major role in collection. Hope my panels will agree that. What is uncertainty? Why borrowers are defaulting? Because of uncertainty, right? There may be a job loss, there might be medical issues, there might be some casualties at the families. So the planned income, whatever the planned income, which is not sufficient to repay the loan, right? So AI tools, is it addressing this? Is this has been addressed by AI? No. I have gone across 10 plus demos of AI units who has come to me, approached me for their businesses, for most of them on the same platform. They are just improvising what we do. From a telecalling process, they shift to bot. From manual messaging process, WhatsApp messaging, or they will streamline the process. Is this the requirement of collection for the collection AI requirement? There is a intelligent lapse. There is a pure intelligent lapse on the people who is really working on debt collection. So that is a challenge we need to overcome on collections, basically. Okay, that is one point. Second is why collection? Because of poor credit. I would blame poor credit. Even my collection managers come and say, sir, कैसे इसको फंड किया सर? उसके पास कुछ नहीं है. उसके पास औकात ही नहीं है पेमेंट करने के लिए. उन लोगों को पैसा दिया. This is a statement come across every day in my life. Why this is happening? Is our credit managers not so intelligent? They are intelligent. Still there is a miss in data, miss in informations, where we miss intelligence there also. So when we talk about AI in collections, we are working on process, not on intelligence, on collection perspective. So we have to work on intelligence. So how to work on intelligence, that's a big topic, because I was doing a consultancy with a Singapore-based company. It's a very big, vast area which needs to be worked upon. So whoever is working on AI debt collections, please adopt how to inbuild intelligence into the system rather improvising the process. This is my first.
Yeah, I think well said, sir. A challenge sir has given to all of you, and maybe some of you will come and accept it as well. So the thought that he's saying is, Rajesh sir is saying, AI is not able to predict the intent of the customer to pay back the loan. That is first. Second is whether he has the capability, and he's saying credit worthiness was done well, the credit manager was doing the job very well. However, when the intent of repaying back came, I think that is where AI is not able to read the person's mind, is what I think. Maybe others can also pitch in. Yes, yes.
1 minute. Why I'm pitching so hard on AI intelligence is the volume of bad loans getting created year on year is huge. Last financial year standalone, around 2 lakh crore loans have gone bad, and 50,000 crore is on retail loans. 50,000. So the volume, what is happening here is huge, and there is a big potential for your business. And overall, if you see, last around 7 to 8 years after the ARC incorporation, till date, around 16 lakh crore is with ARC. 16 lakh crore. See the potential. If you are really working on debt collection AI, you will have good business opportunities to work upon.
So, in short, sir, what you're saying is, how do I also take care of my bottom line? While my top line is growing, I'm lending, but how do I do better in collecting is what sir is saying. I'll shift the focus from one business head to another business head. So I'll maybe ask Mr. Narayanan ji. He leads corporate banking, he leads wholesale banking, and AI is everywhere, right? So how is Narayanan ji is taking care of AI? How is bank is taking care of AI in the wholesale banking is what I would maybe request sir to speak upon.
Thanks, Guru. Good morning, everyone. So, from AI perspective in wholesale bank, the advent of AI has been there because of data analytics and all. But the real gimmick is not on the frontline side in the wholesale banking as compared to retail, what we see today, the user interface and all, and how do you handle customer. So what it is, so predominantly, like if you segregate, while there can be many ways and number of ways how to use AI and all, but at least in our bank, how we have segregated is under the 3 pillars, which prima facie drives the business, and how you conduct yourself in this environment where you are competing with, say, 40 foreign banks, 40 private sector and public sector banks. So you have almost 100 plus banks working in this, and how do you use AI? So the first 3 important pillars, what we have defined internally is the deal execution capabilities. The second one is the credit underwriting, which our fellow panelist, Mr. Rajesh ji, has also touched upon. And the last part is the capital allocation. So from deal execution perspective, I'm sure most of us know today, it's more easy on the wholesale banking side, given the KYC, contour, and also the availability of data on the wholesale bank side, whether it is on the MCA, GST, income tax, everything is available today. So yeah, that has taken a shape before probably any would have thought, at least on the wholesale bank side, that how the execution can be brought in. The execution capabilities have also come in on the legal side, at least on the product program driven banking on the business banking side or on the mid-corporate side. Not on the wholesale banking side though, but yes, it's truly being seen on the legal side also. Now on the credit side, Rajesh has also shared the real dynamic is about the underwriting of risk and the data. But at least on the wholesale bank side, data is not the problem. The problem is data overload. You're actually swarmed with data, and data is like being shown to you every now and then. So how do you dissect it? A better risk manager is who is able to decide real-time basis this data, right? So are they able to pause and reflect upon the data which is already made available to him or her, and which is truly being spoken about on the data side, that data doesn't speak on its own. Somebody is still needed to interpret it in a right way and protect your capital base, right? Because on wholesale bank side, unlike retail, if say couple of loan goes bad, you still are able to manage your basis point of NPAs. But in a wholesale bank side, you see one default and the whole balance sheet reacts in a particular fashion, which is not to your tune or expectations, and shareholder starts questioning. The last one is on the capital allocation side, right? So how do you allocate capital, right? So there is always a shift towards the capital allocation side, at least at the treasury front. How do you make allocation towards, say, a retail business to a wholesale business? Within a wholesale business, what are your risk-based return, right? How are you going to go more aggressive in an uncertain environment like current times, geopolitical situations? You have West Asia unrest. You have something going already in Russia, Ukraine. You have an expected business flow changing, the trade flow business changing from, say, Russia immediately to West, say, Middle East within, from say, Oman or Dubai, it's moving to other countries in Africa, or say to Venezuela coming out of sanction risk. All those points are there. So how do you still allocate your capital rightfully there? So overall, from a corporate bank or a wholesale bank perspective, it's not only about efficiency, it's also about allocating your capital wisely and making desired return for the organization.
Yeah, thank you, Narayanan. I think two important point is how do you deploy your capital and make sure that one corporate doesn't make the biggest dent is what I think Narayanan has said. I'll shift my thought process. I'll give an example, maybe spend 30 seconds over here. The latest fraud that has happened in last 5 to 6 months is the Mahanagar gas. I don't know if you have heard about this. So somebody calls you saying your Mahanagar gas bill is not paid. The customer panics and says, oh, let me check, and then something happens, and then the person sends an APK file to you. The person downloads the APK file, and there was a customer in Vashi. She lost 14 lakhs. There was another customer in Nerul, and this is all, if you look at the location which I'm saying, this is all in the news, Navi Mumbai area. And when I look at the penetration of fraud, it is mostly Maharashtra region. Now, I would want to maybe pick your brain, Sachin, and you tell us in RBL Bank, how are you using AI in managing these kind of frauds? I mean, this was just one example which I gave you. But what are you doing? What is RBL Bank doing? Maybe you can shed some light.
Sure, sir. First of all, thank you for the invitation. It is an honor to be around such an esteemed speakers, such an experienced leaders from the banking. Before I go to the use case, how do we solve fraud problem in our bank, I'd like to give an industry perspective, right? How many of you have actually witnessed financial fraud? That's just one out of all 200,
Wow.
250 people, right? Any guesses out of all the UPI transactions that happens every day, how many transactions are reported as fraud? So I had the analytics for branch banking business in RBL Bank, sir. Along with that, fraud monitoring is also with me. We were recently invited to RBI headquarters to showcase our use cases. And it was very recently, last week. And CGM of RBI was talking about these statistics is that every million of UPI transaction that happens, 17 transactions are reported as fraud. Every million of card transactions that are happening in India, 300 out of them are reported as fraud. See, while we look at the statistics, these statistics look very small, very minuscule when you compare with the overall number of transactions that are happening. But why should even one customer suffer? Right? The second perspective is that in India, about 61% of the population is actively doing banking. But the other perspective is that still 40% of them are left to be included in finance, right? When you are scaling such kind of banking for a country like India, trust becomes the most important part. It is not about using good machine learning AI algorithm. It is ultimately about building the trust into the customers, right? This is just an industry perspective. So I'll just come back to how we are trying to solve the fraud problem in banks. So there are two problems. One is a person who has intention to do fraud. Second are victims. The rule that we follow is that even if 100 fraudsters are going away, but no unvictim customer should suffer because of behavior of other people, right? So what are we trying to do? We are trying to solve it in 3 levels. One is that we have built rules at micro cohort level. No longer the rules of transaction monitoring which used to happen on branch level, at an overall level, at a current account level, saving account level, it is not relevant anymore. You have to go do extreme clustering of your customers, basis the transaction behavior, basis the demographics that they belong to, basis the negative PIN code data that they belong to. You have to do micro cohorts, and basis those micro cohorts, you have to build rules and throw alerts on time so that the monitoring team can monitor. Second, whatever rule you apply on the value and volume of the transaction, it is high unlikely that you will be able to catch the patterns. For example, a customer is doing hardly transaction of 5,000 rupees, but the pattern that is showing is 49 rupees, 45 rupees, 49 rupees, 45 rupees, 49 rupees, 45 rupees. You catch one pattern, they will come back with another pattern. You catch one pattern, they will come back with another pattern. And that is where AI and ML comes into the play, right? So in RBL Bank, along with RBI, we have developed a model called as RBI Mule Hunter model. RBI has a innovation branch called as RBI Innovation Hub. Along with them, we developed a model which is deployed, which runs every day, which considers about 800 variables around the transaction of a customer. And then we are able to predict in time which customer is showing a fraudulent pattern, right? That is how I generate the alert and people are able to, freeze the account in time. That is the second way. Third way is, because as a bank, I am a regulated entity, right? I will have access to limited customer data, which is available to me on my system. Whatever customer has declared, only that much exposure I will have, right? I will never know the secondary data around the customer. Like how many times do you go to a bank and tell that I shop from Amazon, Meesho and these platforms? How many times do you tell? You never tell, right? So fortunately, one of the third-party data provider that we work with is also a sponsor of this event, which is Bureau ID. So we work with Bureau ID to scrub the customers, get lot of third-party data around it, and generate a third-party risk. For example, you are maybe not showing any pattern today of a transaction, but outside you have created multiple email IDs, multiple phone numbers, you are frauding on different websites, and with that score, I enhance my model continuously. So these are the three ways we are trying to tackle fraud problem as of now, and obviously it keeps going on, refinements, fine-tuning, etc. It keeps on happening.
Thank you, Sachin ji. I think pattern matching, can we use GenAI, can we use LLMs, can we use SLMs? I think that is one core thing, maybe as a thought process is what Sachin is leaving on the table. I would just want to, curious, Mohit ji, you want to add anything on this fraud part, what Central Bank of India is doing?
No, I'll fully agree with, we have to move from the static to dynamic fraud monitoring mechanism, and rightly told by Sachin, RBIH is one. We have other layering also, like I foresee how they have started declaring layer 1, layer 2, layer 3 beneficiaries on those frauds. So how to see that what is the pattern of the frauds, and how do we quickly change our rules, basically. And rules have to be very dynamic and very adaptive. In fact, the free AI also talks about the use case as one of the use case which banks can adopt is fraud monitoring. So I think most of the banks have started working on it, and it is giving good results. I think that's a positive side of AI on banking.
Right. Rajesh ji, you want to add anything on the fraud side? Maybe a few thoughts, some experiences.
Yeah, there is a fraud. Intentional fraud is there, and non-intentional fraud is also there. What is intentional fraud? Intentional fraud is basically the customer create a document, give the document to bank, and take a loan, with a lot of fabricated information that can be manually monitored and addressed. Non-financial frauds also is there. Non-intent fraud. That is actually AA we have to get the assistance from AA. How I will tell you. See, in this loan recovery process, there are two types of segments. One is organized borrowers, unorganized borrowings. For every customer, every customer there is an organized borrowings and unorganized borrowing, right? What is unorganized borrowing? There will be a borrowings from friends and relatives. There will be a borrowings from chit companies, small companies, where CIBIL is not, CIBIL or any credit bureau is not tracking. So non-disclosures of the liabilities, that is also, it is creating to the delinquencies. It is creating the delinquencies. That is also actually, it's not a fraud, but submission of they are not relieving the proper information. Borrowers are not relieving the proper informations, where we have to play a role there. Because if we don't play a role there, what is going to happen here is, the borrower doesn't have the repayment capacity. Still, he might have taken a loan, because there is a fixed cash. For a salary, I'll put it in a very simple word. A salary is there, and you work on FOIR. That is, you work on 40%, okay, 60% they can pay for EMI, 40% for their expenses. So you give the loan. What will happen? In that 40% also, there are a lot of other liabilities created inside. There is what our intelligence is required. If we are not able to address that issue, that is why our fintech companies are now facing problem. I don't know how many fintech companies are there, but as per data, fintech companies' delinquency ratio is around 14%. 30 plus DPD is 14%, and their NPA is already 4%. Hardly 3 to 4 years they have worked. 4% NPA they are working on. So they are going to create a big loss. The margin is not so great. So as part of our data modeling, how we model data to detect this type of information is very, very important. Unorganized borrowings, if it is there, how and what is their expenditure. He was addressing about all the purchases is getting captured. Those type of information, if the intelligence is there and if we have that system in place, then we will be able to give a good credit. And if we do a good credit, obviously our portfolio will behave better, our bottom line will improve. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh. I think two important points came out. One from Rajesh is about how do you create your data model in such a way that you are able to catch frauds. And second thing what Mohit said is a very, very deeper insight is, I don't know, I'm sure most of you would know it, but whenever a fraud happens, for example, somebody has taken 50,000 from my account, then it goes in layer 1. So maybe it goes as a credit card payment. Okay, 50,000 is a very small amount. Let me make it 5 lakhs. So why? Because then I'll be able to split that amount. So let's say out of that 5 lakh, you will not believe layer 1 will go to 5 different people or 4 different people. So that would be a transaction of 49,990, 49,870 or something of that sort, which is what Sachin was also saying. After that, it's a credit card payment. And now that payment is going to the payments bank, and then it is then the credit card payment has been done. So it goes via layers, layer 1, 2, 3, 4, and as per cyber security, there can be a maximum of 7 layers, and the ability to capture a fraud at layer 1 is the highest, and that is within 30 minutes of the crime happening, within the 30 minutes of the cyber crime happening. So I think that's a very interesting fact that Mohit brushed aside, and so please be careful. I'm sure I'll pray everybody are safe, but if it all happens, anytime it happens, that 30 minute is as good as the 30-second of a heart attack, a post-heart attack. So now, we have another 7-8 minutes left. So maybe one question which I'll again ask as a follow-up question to Mohit is, we didn't touch compliance till now. We touched collections, we touched fraud, we touched mis-selling, we touched collections, and within that how AI works and so on. We also spoke about AI in corporate banking, wholesale banking. But one thing is compliance. Maybe, Mohit, if you can give us some insight, and maybe you can also add, others can also add. Over to you, Mohit. Yeah.
So, a very good question and very relevant question in today's era. I think when we are working in such an innovative environment, every company, I think, and most of you will be just, running out of time to catch up with the new trends, new thing. But what is most important is, I think what Mr. Sachin also said initially, the trust. And now we can refine and define it as a digital trust, because everything is on digital data. So if you have to gain that digital trust, what you have to do is make your products, make your services, make your every journey compliance by design. Let all your processes and procedures be on that framework. I think most of your problems will be sorted out. Being a banking side banker and being a regulated entity, and rather very highly regulated entity, we do go by this, and compliance by design, it's like in our blood now. And basically whenever we are taking any kind of product or new, including AI, I think we are just following that things. And particularly RBI, NPCI, and many more other government entities, they are having various parameters for the compliance to be there. The most challenging part is there to how to chase that and how to ensure that the manual, the way we were doing otherwise manually 10 circulars for the month, and whether we have complied, it's very difficult, I think, as an organization, big banks, manually tracking it is a Herculean task for most of the CCOs. But I think AI has helped it a lot, and we have been started working on it. We have brought in some tools wherein every circular is being automatically scanned, seeing the impact analysis of it in terms of what department is impacted and what processes are impacted and how to attend to that, and also subsequently track the compliance on a sustainable basis. That is more important, because once you do the compliance for one circular, but it is very difficult to make it as a sustainable compliance. And once you do the sustainable compliance and reporting mechanisms, lot of your fraud-related issues or any kind of surprises that would be, I will say, we cannot say completely rule out, but yes, it can be minimized. So compliance by design is what I would suggest.
Thank you. I think that's an interesting. I think Sachin ji has also taken charge of the mic.
I'd like to just add a few things here, because all of us are only discussing about the problems. So I'll talk about some good news also that is happening in the banking. Not all is happening which is wrong, right? So I keep interacting with a lot of banks who are working in fraud monitoring, because we are working with RBI into this initiative. And let me tell you that almost all banks who are having the capacity of, running the models, building AI models, they are all on board. All the banks have created their own separate fraud monitoring data science team, monitoring team. And I talk about the numbers that have been reported as a fraud, that has also come down in comparison to 24, 25 and 26. We reported around 13,000 fraud cases, which is officially reported cases. Obviously, the number of, the value of the fraud is high, 48,000 crore odd amount. But the number of fraud cases is going down. That is one thing. Second good news, anybody from Kotak here today? You are from Kotak? So I don't know if how many of you have heard or not, but Mr. Uday Kotak recently received Padma Bhushan Award. So many congratulations to all of us for receiving Padma Bhushan. It is an inspiration for every banker who is sitting here, right? Being a banker, you can get such a prestigious award from the bank, from the country, right? So I think it deserves a round of applause. Kudos to Kotak Mahindra Bank. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Deepak ji wants to add a few things. And maybe, Shweta, do we have time for Q&A? I don't know, maybe we can have one or two questions and we can then add it.
Have these questions.
Okay, thank you. So my host is allowing me to take one or two questions. So after Deepak ji finishes, and then I think we'll hand it over to questions.
Okay, I just wanted to change the track, because I think somehow it's a morning and we are talking about that frauds and all those things. Let me share some one good use case which we recently experimented with AI. So we were having a very short period of time towards end of March. So we were told that we need to launch this product. And in banking, or especially I would say in PSBs, you need to follow the process. You need to identify the vendor to develop those tools and all. So, and then there is a long process, as Mohit sir has also mentioned, that you need to follow compliances also. So we thought no vendor would be able to deliver it. We talked to vendors also. They were giving time of, I would say, 3 to 6 months. So we started experimenting with Claude. And in a day or two, we could understand that we will be able to deliver the entire product set in the defined timelines. And I'm still surprised to share that within 7 to 8 days, the entire product was developed with the help of Claude. And another 10 days it took for security, because they were not in, I would say, shape that whether we can certify this product or not. So the good things are, yes, when we go for this, that you need to understand the product first. Second, the person who is handling that tool should be good both in your processes as well as technology. Documentation-wise, they are excellent. You tell them you do this vulnerability test and all, they will do everything on your own. The risks are that it starts creating hallucination once you start using it beyond a point. So how to take forward that tool? Yes, UI UX, it will do great. Certain processes, it is doing great. API integrations, it is doing great. But beyond that, how to take this forward? How your team will take, because now it is not like you have delivered something and for a month or two. It has to continue. So how to take forward, that we are still learning.
Thank you, Deepak ji. I think we still have a minute and 2 minutes for one question. Yeah, I think.
If we have questions, we can take. Otherwise, I'll just have a small thing to share. Okay, I'll share a small general request which comes from most of the youngsters about AI versus human, especially on the banking side. So with the advent of AI, what we have seen in general is, are they displacing humans? My still take is they are not displacing humans. Humans are going to be there. So don't be fearful about AI. Please use AI and continue to enable yourself with more and more technological driven tools. At least what we have done internally is started using Copilot. So each and every employee have access to Copilot. Copilot have started depicting each and every circular from central bank and also the jurisdiction where we do not operate in, right? So you may have a cross-border trade and we are still depicting, say, laws of, say, Europe, tax havens, and geopolitical risk arising out of these. So people are using, youngsters are using, and the best outcome is still from the human mind. The efficiencies are brought in by AI, but the decision making is yet with humans. So please don't be fearful. And the second part is, as such, wholesale banking space is probably from a human resource count perspective is 10% of the overall bank, or maybe lower in some banks. So as such, the employee strength itself is very, very low. We don't have many use cases from fintech side on compliances being embedded or EWI, right? So I've come across very less use cases on the EWI on the wholesale bank space currently, right? Which is already mandated by RBI. It's being implemented as we speak by most of the banks currently in India on the wholesale banking side. So these are the few thoughts from my side on human versus AI. Thanks.
Thank you. I think it was wonderful to have you as an audience, and I will hand it back to host, and I hope she keeps you busy the whole day.
Yeah, we have
talks.
30 seconds, so we can take quick question if anybody has. Has. If there are no questions, I suppose we have answered all the questions they had. It was a fabulous discussion. Yeah, very powerful one. Can we have a huge round of applause for all the panelists? I think the future won't build by the banks that are merely adopting AI, but also will be led by that are reimagining what possible because of it. I'll request Mr. Amit Didolkar, Head Sales from Finbox, to please join us to felicitate the entire panel. Thank you, Amit. Can we have a huge round of applause for Amit, everyone? Come on. I'll request Mr. Rajesh Narayanan, please join us on the center stage and accept the memento from us. Thank you, sir, for participating at this very fabulous and a very significant panel discussion. May I now call upon Mr. Sachin Singh to accept the memento. Can we have a huge round of applause, everybody? May I now call upon Mr. Deepak Bhatia. Once again, a very powerful, insightful topic and great conversation. I'll request Mr. Mohit Kodnani to please accept the certificate from entire Synnex group. Thank you so much, sir, for participating for this panel discussion. I'll make call upon Mr. Navratan Vohra to kindly accept the certificate. Thank you so much, sir. Can we have a huge round of applause? Once again, great insight. And how could we move into this dynamic topic without our moderator? May I now call upon Guru Prasad PM to accept the memento. Thank you, sir, for navigating this phenomenal topic. Thank you, all of you. I'll request for a group picture, please. Can we have a group picture with the certificates? Amit, I'll request you to please join in, yeah. So let us hear a huge round of applause for the leaders who are at the forefront of this dynamic transformation as we explore towards how AI is automating, innovating, and ultimately transforming the future of banking and financial services.